Some news again about DeAndre Hopkins, released by the Cardinals on Friday, although it didn't put the paperwork in over the weekend, so it will become official here within the next few hours. Hopkins, again, a favorite target with the Texans of Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson. Kevin Stefanski at the Browns Foundation golf outing today asked about DeAndre Hopkins.
Well, me and D-Hop, we just naturally talk. We've been talking since, the Houston days, and then also whenever he left for Arizona, we were always talking. So, he's always been a brother of mine since I was coming out of high school. Our connection, our relationship has always been great. And I know there's a lot of things swirling around in the media of, him possibly coming to Cleveland. And, for me, my answer to that is, of course, we would love to have him. He knows that. We had a lot of connections, but, it's kind of out of my range of things, of kind of coordinating things. So all I can do is, make a call and see what happens, let AB do the rest.
Yeah, as you know, Jeff, I really like our wide receiver room. I love the guys that are in there. Andrew and his crew are always looking at every avenue and that type of thing. So I won't comment specifically on the player other than to say I really like our roster.
And with that, let's welcome in Fred Greetham, senior reporter for the Orange and Brown Report. And Fred, when Hopkins and Watson played together, they were extremely productive. Now, Hopkins is getting up there in age, but it's an interesting conversation.
Oh, no question. I mean, when I was putting together, we've talked about it, my off-season moves I think the Browns could make. That was kind of led by making a trade like you did for Amari Cooper. And at that time, a lot of talk about what would the Cardinals do with DeAndre Hopkins. He wasn't happy. They looked like they were maybe rebuilding with a new coach. And so, yeah, he would have been, in a trade target. I think that would have been, one of the top of the list. They ended up trading for Elijah Moore. I know why they did. He was also one of the three that I mentioned. Much cheaper, much younger, only in his third year on a rookie contract. So right now, I just have to feel that ship has sailed. The people I've talked to, you're going to, you can put off and restructure, but you got to pay the man sometime. And even you would probably have to move on from Amari Cooper. I mean, he's at $20 million plus, I think, this year. And, you've already got 14, 15 wide receivers. You added 3 wide receivers that probably will be in the top 5 on your roster in Marquise Goodwin, Elijah Moore, and Cedric Tillman. Now, it remains to be seen if Moore will move ahead of Peoples-Jones, but there's only so many dollars. They made some big-time moves, and I think the news also came out today that Hopkins hired a new agency, I think Clutch Sports, based out of Cleveland, I think, or the agent, but he didn't do that to get a minimum wage deal, Yeah, you can structure things, but you have to pay him. There's going to be guaranteed money and so forth now that he's a free agent. It was seems like when you trade for him, you have much more, like you did to Zadarius Smith, you were able to work together, and get the contract deal. Now as a free agent, you kind of go to the highest bidder. And unfortunately, you think that he'll probably end up in the AFC. The Chiefs and the Bills, tried to trade for him. And, you look around the AFC or you look around the NFL, most of the quarterbacks fighting for a Super Bowl are in the AFC. So, yeah, it's a neat connection with Watson and Hopkins. But at this point of the offseason, I think they'd have to make, another drastic move. I don't think you can, I don't know how all the ins and outs of these contracts, but Jack Duffin said there is no way you can do that unless you sign him to a 2-year, $25 million deal and something, and then kind of move on from Cooper. But you got guaranteed money there. So it will be interesting, but I don't see it happening. I think he would be great, but you've done a lot, and unfortunately you couldn't work that out earlier in the offseason, in my opinion.